Well, hello out there, all of you string picking guys and gals. Welcome back to Obscene Studio. Today, we are going to do part two to the Leo Jaymz IR Box. We are going to look at the bass presets today. We didn't do that in the first video because there were so many guitar presets, and I think this only offers like 8. No, actually, it only offers about 6 bass presets. But you have spots for downloadable IRs, which I haven't done that yet. That may be a future video, I'm not really sure. But as you heard in the intro, this thing does really good. I run it right into the interface, right to you guys, and that's what it had to offer. I was thoroughly pleased with that. I thought, once I was listening to it in the mix, I thought, man, this does okay, you know. So that is basically what we're doing. I put the noise suppressor on it just because didn't want any kind of interference to get in with all of that. And also I'd run the EQ on it, which I didn't have to do, but I get a little bit of gain boost out of my EQ, and whereas the pedal does offer it, but I didn't really go in and change any of the EQ settings on the bass channels to the pedal. But I am thoroughly pleased. I really am. I am going to do a pros and cons at the end of this video, but man, you know, this thing is designed really for interfaces, and say you're playing a small gig and everybody's running through PAs, and you don't want to lug your big heavy bass amp around along with your guitar and mics and everything just to get the sound that you want at that gig. So you can run directly into the PA with this box and have 6 to 7 different amps that you can completely get the tone you're looking for. You can adjust everything within an app on your phone. It's just really remarkable how far things have come as compared to what they used to be, you know. I had also mentioned in the last video that this was an amp and cab sim. After further research, I do not think that it's an amp sim. I think that it's just cabs, and the cabs, IRs for cabs and microphones. I'm going to put a list up as we go through on the side of the screen of which one that we're doing, and so you can see what it is. I don't necessarily know what all of the mic sims are. I know the SM57's up there. There's some conditioner mics and stuff like that, you know. But like I said, I'm not really familiar with all the different mics that they have listed within that. So for now, we are going to step back here to the bench. We're going to take a look and see what we can get into with this thing. And we're going to run through the paces. And this time, rather than doing it through the amp, we're going to do it through the interface, which has really surprised me, but the amp surprised me too. I know I mentioned in the last video that I wanted to run it through my Fender Rumble, and that's the whole reason why I bought that, was to get some different tones out of the Fender Rumble. I am not saying by no means that my Fender Rumble is not enough of an amp. That thing is 100 watts and it has a wide tonal variety. But after hooking this box up to it, I have fell in love with it all over again. It's amazing. My favorite one to run through it is the Ampeg Cab Sim. It's awesome. It sounds just completely awesome. But today we're going to run through the interface. I want to show you guys what that sounds like without any mics, without any amps outside of the box, and just when we're running through my mixer into the interface. The video at the front of this video, the short little ditty I done, was to a backing track on YouTube in the key of E and A. It's just a simple little groove thing that I did because I'm by no means a professional bass player. I know my way around one, but I'm not that great on it, you know. But yeah, it sounded really good. It sounded real good. So you guys just buckle your seatbelts. I'm going to warp you right over here, okay? Okay, guys, I've got you set up over here. We're running through the interface, microphone, and bass. So you can hear that. I'm going to turn the bass up just a little. Okay, there we go. All right, this first preset is number 26, and I think it starts the bass simulation. Yes, it does. And it is based on a Jensen 10450, and the microphone is off axis, and it's a 4x10 cab. Now, this is no EQ added in the signal chain, only the EQ that's on my guitar and that's on the IR box. Now, I kind of like that one. I've played with that one a little bit. Let's move on to number 27. And number 27 is going to be based on a Studio 22 441. And it's got Edge 48S. I'm not sure if that's the microphone or not, but it is also, all of these are going to be a 4x10 cab. Every single one of them. But this one says Edge 48S. That has got to be the brand of the microphone. Now, I kind of like that one. It's got some spank to it. If I could do that whole thumb and pluck bass thing, that would be the one that I would definitely go for. Now we're looking at number 28. And number 28 is going to be the Ampeg SVT. This is the one that I like. It's a 410 HE is what it says. I'm pretty sure that that is a condenser mic. Listen to that. That's butter. I like that. That's my favorite one out of all of the ones that's offered on this so far. Number 29 is going to be based on the Aguilar DIS-25, I think, may be the microphone. I'm not for sure on that. I'm not really familiar with that cab. I've heard the brand name before. like that one too. That's a pretty good one. And now moving on to number 30. Number 30 is based upon a TPS 4V 421 610 bass. I have no idea what that is, but I have tried it, and listen to this. Got a lot of low and high. So I really like that in the bass too. Number 31. This one is based on the Eden 300. And it's a 410 cab as well. Like I said earlier, all of the bass ones are a 410 cab. I'm not really sure if you can change that in the IR files, but I'm happy with them. They sound great. That's got a whole lot of spank. Okay, and last but not least, number 32. And 32 is going to be based on the Work 154050. I've heard of that brand, not really familiar with them at all. I couldn't really tell you if that was, if I remember, if that was a bass Work amp or if it was, if that's actually the name of the microphone, but I am familiar with that name. Sounds good though. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, buddy. And that's it. That is the Leo Jaymz IR box. Guys, like I said, I kind of feel old. I mean, I know that the Head Rush does all of this and more. It's loaded full of our amps, cloned amps, our cabs and mics, and I know it does all that, but that's $500, you know. And now you can get the same thing for $37.99, and it blows my mind. I said in the first video, you know, these young whippersnappers, you know, because when I was young and I was a whippersnapper, we didn't have stuff like this, and we didn't have stuff like that Leo Jaymz either. We had those big blocky distortion pedals, and you know, I think if I could think, TC Electronics was out back then. You had the DOD was out back then. Dan Electro was out back then, and most of those costed a lot of money, even for when I was a kid. You know, you couldn't just justify that kind of spending from where I lived, because you know I lived in a very rural community, and you had to drive 40 miles to get something like that, unless you had a friend that had one for sale, and that's usually how I got mine. So let's talk pros and cons. We'll start with the cons. There needs to be more bass IRs in that unit. That's me though, because I play guitar and bass, and it just needs more bass. I know that there's not a big call for that, but there are a lot of bass players out there in the world, especially gigging bass players, that could really benefit from that. Am I saying that the bass hours on there are not good? No, by no means. They are awesome. Every one of them has a purpose, and I love it. But that's just the selfish side of me. I think there should be a lot more bass on there, as well as you know, like the guitar is. You know, other cons. I would have to say that the only other con that I have with that unit is the downloading IR files. And that's only because I've not really figured that out yet. I know that there is an easy way to do it. I've just not got into it. So I wouldn't even really list that as a con. So let's just move on to the pros, because I can't think of any more cons. Pros. Dude, where do I start? I mean, I don't want you guys, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you have to go buy this today. Uh, but what I am going to tell you is I'm not sponsored. I'm not being paid to say anything good or bad or anything about this pedal. I'm not in any way influenced by anyone other than myself. My own free thinking bought this, and this is my honest opinion. This thing is awesome. It's just awesome. Is it staying? You better believe it. It's going to stay right there on that board, and I am going to use that often, especially if I run the bass through the interface and I have the guitar on the second channel, and I'm recording through my mixer recorder. It's staying without a doubt. I'm thoroughly impressed for that. The bass, especially the Ampeg tones, the other tones that are offered on there, is just remarkable. I mean, it sounds like a mic'd up actual cab to that. The Ampeg was surprisingly, now it did need a little bit of EQ dialing in, I think, for certain tones and stuff. But when I hear that under the Ampeg R, I just think about the Ampeg amps. Those things are just massive and they're killer. Other pros to that is price point, $37.99. I mean, come on, $37.99 and you get all of that. Imagine buying 32 cabs, microphones, and I mean, for 40 bucks, that's not bad at all. They offer it on Amazon, not affiliated. Do order a lot from Amazon, but there are no links or anything. But yeah, this thing it's just massive. I mean, you know, the sound that it delivers is just awesome. I have many pros to go along with that. So, does this get 5 out of 5 stars? No, it doesn't. It's very hard for me to give 5 out of 5 stars. I'm going to say, because of my selfishness of wanting more bass IRs in that unit, I'm going to give it a 4.8 out of 5 stars. So, yeah. If you want my honest opinion about it and you're looking for something to run into your interface that gives you sounds of different cabs, microphones, stuff like that, you don't have a unit like the Headrush Flex Prime that does all that, for 40 bucks. Invest, 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 invest. Being operated by a mobile phone that you can move through and adjust it's amazing. Invest in that. It is going to help you out. And I'm telling you this of my own free will, and it's my 110% honest opinion. I know how much it's going to help me here in the studio, and it can help you too. Plus the fact that you can run that into something and then just put it through headphones. And you know, there's one thing that I didn't try that I thought about trying was hooking it through the Cube Baby, but Q Baby has some IR cabs on that, but then just shutting those off and using this as an IR cab simulator with the Q Baby, that might be a future video. Not sure. We'll have to revisit that probably. I don't know yet. But guys, anyway, that's it for the Leo Jaymz IR Box 4.8 rating. 2 thumbs up. Next video, I think we are going to give my old buddy Thumper a little bit of TLC. The one thing about this bass right here, I love it so much. This bass is just absolutely amazing. I love this bass. But the one thing about it is frets are getting a little bit dull. It needs a bit of conditioning on the fretboard. It's been a long time since I've done that. These strings have been on there for a while, but bass strings usually last a whole lot longer than guitar strings. And I've never been under the hood of this thing. I have never taken this pick guard off and looked at the wiring and stuff. So I may do that too. Also, I have a screw back here that's about stripped out. It will not get any tighter than that. You can see that I'm wiggling that. It won't get any tighter. So I'm going to fix that problem, show you an easy way to do that. That'll help you out if you ever run into that problem. And if you use strap locks, more than likely you run into that problem. But I wanted strap locks on that bass because that bass has got a lot of neck dive. I put a lot of money into that strap and those strap locks because I wanted that thing to stay on me when I played. I would just die if that thing ever fell off. I don't know what I'd do. That's my go-to bass. Now I do have my 5-string fretless bass back here. That's pretty cool. I love the fretless. The fretless bass is an amazing instrument, but it's a 5-string, and on my 4-string, I tune this down to C, and I do all kinds of crazy stuff with this bass. So, guys, anyway, I hope you liked it. Thank you for stopping by. Next time, bring snacks and drinks, please, because your old buddy Casey here at Obscene Studios is going to starve to death if I don't start getting more subscribers. So, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you guys next time. May you and yours be blessed beyond measure, and may God be with you all. Later.